you can see that holes came through the front and rear of the block here. So I can actually stick my finger in here and spin the connecting rod around, which is kind of a bummer. So yeah, that blew out, and then luckily it didn't take anything with it. But you can see the block cracked right here, cracked down here, put a hole out through there. Oil pan's looking okay. Oil filter housing was fine. Nothing looks bad on that. Doesn't matter, I'm getting a new short block, so all this is going away. All right, guys, so I think I owe you a little update on the S280 and how everything's going with my Fiesta. So I got about 10 revisions in, I want to say, give or take, with the S280. About 2 weeks of tuning back and forth. And we ended up blowing a piston, or actually a connecting rod snapped in half and sent holes through the front and rear of the block, which I'm going to show you right now. Number 2 piston, connecting rod broke, and sent holes through the block. You can see 3 right here, big old crack right above the oil filter housing. Not the greatest. And then you can see the piston completely dynamited, which makes sense, you know. The other ones look a little icky, but I've seen worse. But yeah, so it's got holes coming out the back too. I'm just can't get the camera back there super great. But yep, I don't blame the tuner. I kind of blame myself. I think what we ended up doing wrong is we crossed the wastegate line and the blow-off valve line right here. So we had these two swapped, and it overboosted. And it only did it one time, and I immediately realized something was wrong, so I didn't like stay in the power. But it did overboost, and I think that is what caused our problem. It's just weird that I did 2 weeks of constant data logging, wicked hard pulls, beating the sense out of it, and didn't have any indications on either the tunes on the logs or on the access port. I didn't have like negative corrections, misfires, or anything, which is really weird. But access ports don't catch everything. If you think they do, you're kidding yourself. I call them anxiety ports for a reason. They don't really tell you a whole lot, and by the time they do, it's usually too late. So anyway, I've got the top end in the car. I'll show you a little video right now of that. So first impression of the top end was that everything was okay. One thing to look for is damage on spark plugs, which were all good. Everything's looking okay. But some of the stuff we found that we weren't super excited about was like a little piece of metal wedged right in there. There's a little dent right here. I don't think that's going to be a huge deal, but I mean, like I said, I wish I knew more about the top end of motors. I just don't have any experience like fixing them. But it's about $105 to get this whole resurfaced, or this whole thing resurfaced, and then any valves that are bad they can pull out and rebuild for me, and they'll probably cost extra, but it'll beat spending $800 on a new cylinder head and then all the extra on valves and everything. So I'm hoping we can sneak away with just digging this out of here, because I'm looking and I haven't seen anything else that's super bad, but this little piece right here and these little divot things are actually looking like they're not, but nothing's, you know, no huge chunks missing that make me freak out. But digging that little piece out of there and making sure this still seals up is going to be really important. Otherwise, we're just going to be misfiring or having more problems, you know, after putting a short block in. So I was going to get rid of the car and trade it in for a truck. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty disheartened by having 2 weeks with the S280, but you know what? A bunch of the communities kind of reached out to me and said, we really like your videos, and we like that you're not blaming the tuner, which I'm not. JST has been only good to me. That said, I'm not going to tune it after this. I'm actually going to go back to the stock turbo, and I'm going to wait till it's fully paid off, and we can turn this exclusively into our play car, because it's not, you know, the end of the world. I've got other cars, and I've got my Civic I can drive, but, you know, I want to drive this to Oklahoma 4 times this year, and I want it to be reliable, and my tuning experiences have been less than reliable. So if you've watched any of the channel, we've blown an RS short block, or we blew a piston on an RS at 8,200 miles. And then I had a really high mileage Focus ST that we budget swapped. That series is on the channel. All in all, not that hard. I think this took me 5 hours maybe to get the head off, and that's me going slow and trying to enjoy working on a car that just kind of let me go a little bit, because I'm pretty disheartened. You know, you put an S280 on and things don't go your way. So all right, here we are at Wagamon Brothers. They are really nice, and they're gonna inspect my top end, and they said it should be ready tomorrow to check it out. And if it's not, we'll get a new cylinder head, and if it's good, then they're gonna deck it and we'll get it all back together. All right, guys, so I went up to Wagamon Brothers, dropped off the head today. They came back to me and basically said that 4 of the exhaust valves are bad, so pretty much all of them, or however many. 4 of them are bad, and on the intake there are at least 1 of them that are bad, so it's going to need a rebuild from them. I'm looking at about $450, not including parts, to get that rebuilt. Ford says that they have a head for like $850, but they're discontinued and I can't find a replacement. And it doesn't look like they make a new one. So if you end up needing a top end, you're not going to find them on Rock Auto, you're not going to find them on LKQ, you're not going to find them on eBay. Pretty much everybody's sold out, even if used ones. So if you have a problem with your top end, you're looking at either a junkyard motor or a long block from Ford for around $3,500, or a Montoon long block, or whatever you can come up with. But basically, you're going to be SOL. I'm rebuilding my head. They said it looks okay enough to rebuild and to redeck it. So about $450 to get the head rebuilt, and then maybe another $200-300 in parts from Ford, you know, new valves and whatever else I need to get it rebuilt. But those parts do seem to be in stock. I will keep you updated as this build comes back together. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment. There is a Ford workshop manual you can get access to if you are struggling to figure that out. It used to be free, it no longer is, and I can point you in the right direction. Just comment on the video, drop me, you know, whatever, phone number, email, whatever you're comfortable with, or I can just reply to you on YouTube. But there is a way to get the Ford workshop manual, and with that, this is an easy project.